Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction. And
it was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
Having the monster man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute. Your host, the Multiman.
That's right. That's right. I am here, you are there, and we are all together. It is good to have you with us, folks, here at Take12Radio.com, the world's only, at least at this point, the world's only faith-based 12-stepologist, solution-focused recovery radio station broadcasting a unique recovery show every single day of the week. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with recovery and positive music as well. Welcome to the show. Before I introduce our guests, I want to give a plug for a couple of magazines here, and you're going to be hearing me talk about this more and more. The 12-Step Gazette. Now, this is an award-winning recovery magazine for Philly and South Jersey and the surrounding counties, but lots of people get this magazine, and if you're on YouTube, you're looking at your screen right now. That's what this magazine looks like, and this thing is just packed full. It's kind of like a newspaper, but it's in magazine format. I mean, there is just so much stuff in here, and it's not just advertisement. I mean, there are treatment providers in here and so forth and so on. But they're there. These kind of advertisements are there because they're resources for you to use. But there's all sorts of stuff in here. This thing is packed, and we're featured in that magazine. Shameful plug there. And then I want to tell you about Recovery Wire magazine. We speak your language. These guys are tremendous. This is out of Canada. This is the only recovery magazine published in Canada, and they have thousands of subscribers, and this is what this looks like if you're on YouTube. See that there? Those of you who are listening audio, you can't see it, but that's for our YouTube subscribers. And it's a high-gloss magazine. It's very high quality, and just tremendous articles in there. Really, go to their websites and check them out. You can get their online versions for free. You can subscribe to them. And you can click at the bottom of any of our main pages at 12-Step Gazette or Recovery Wire. We have banner links there as well because they help sponsor our show by advertising for us. So there you go. There that is there. All right. Brian Bangle is on the show with me. He's my guest this week. And this is a gentleman I met some time ago in right outside of Edgewater, Florida at the Serenity Springs Recovery Center. And they had an event there that was really great. I mean, it was a lot of fun. These people do it right, folks. They really do, because they treat the whole person. There's nutritional stuff going on. There's the physical and the mental and the emotional and the spiritual. And so many treatment providers are clinician only. Serenity Springs, besides, I mean, I've just got to tell you, I mean, they're one of our sponsors, but I got to tell you, it's more than that. I just appreciate them so very much. Brian, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Monty. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm great. I'm always complaining about the humidity, and I know it gets very humid out there. How's it there today?
It was pretty hot. It was about 80 degrees. It was a nice day.
It was a nice day.
Yeah.
See, a nice day to me.
I don't know where you are, but I don't think it's as nice as it is here.
Well, a nice day for me is about 67 with a breeze, but it really is beautiful out there. It's a pretty amazing thing. Now, before we talk about your story, take the listeners, pretend like the listeners are in the car with you right now, and you're getting ready to drive onto the property at Serenity Springs. What are they going to see?
As you're driving down the road for Serenity Springs, you're not sure where you're going because it leads down a pretty long road with nothing but woods on both sides. When you're going down for the first time, there's a lot of places that you would rather be when you're going there, but when you pull up, what you see is about 10 acres of great property with a lake and a golf course, small golf course there, and the nice house that they have for the guests and the clients, and a big workout facility. So it's just real beautiful back in there. You don't expect it when you're driving down the road, but it was a good surprise when I pulled up there for the first time.
Well, we joked around, my buddy Brent, my traveling companion, and when I go to these things, we were joking around as we're going down the road. We're like, man, you wouldn't want to leave here at nighttime if you were going to, jump ship, right?
I think they say something about the rattlesnakes. You can leave on your own terms if you want, but you have to be cautious of snakes and stuff. So
now,
keep you there.
Do they still have a pet alligator? Is that still going on?
You know what? That alligator actually, I think he went across to the other property. We didn't see him, but he was getting a little too friendly for us, to be honest. But that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Well, it's a wonderful center, and like I said, they really do it right there. So Brian, you live in Orlando, and you are, at the time that we're taping the show, you have 6 months free from mind-altering substances. What was going on, man? I mean, before you went to Serenity Springs, were you a mess?
I was a complete mess. But I'm 44 years old, so my entire life, to be honest with you, I'd never been to a treatment center or anything, and my entire life, to me, using drugs and drinking and doing the things I was doing just seemed to be a part of my life, and
sure.
As long as I was doing that, it seemed to be fine. I really thought I'd be one of those that would just do it to the bitter end. I really wasn't aware. I think the longest I'd ever been sober my entire life was 14 days.
Wow. When did you start? What did you start? Did you start with cigarettes, beer, what?
When I was about 17 is when I started to drink pretty good in high school. And, not long after that, I went off to college. And, to be honest, that's when I started getting into the heavier stuff. I started with drinking and then started smoking marijuana. And then, cocaine seemed to be my thing starting then. And that's, it's a long story. But, from then on, it just seemed to be a part of my life.
Right.
And, I went through college, married, 2 kids, and worked very hard in my life to be pretty successful. And, I got to a point where my success enabled me to minimize a lot of my problems over the course of many years. And I just kind of dealt with it. I thought it was a part of my life,
Wow. So you were financially successful.
I did do pretty well. I was fortunate enough to get into the wireless business at a pretty early age. I was about 25, and I did that for about 15 years. I ended up growing a business from about $5,000 in the attic of my house to doing about $30 million in revenue with 300 employees in 5 states. And
wow.
Padding that success with the drugs and the alcohol just seemed to be a good fit together for me. I don't know why, but there were arrests along the way, and lots of problems. Never really attributed directly to my disease. Of course, I didn't even know I had a disease until 6 months ago.
Right.
But I really didn't. I mean, the people I hung around with, I thought everybody smoked pot, and and when you're dealing or doing cocaine, you seem to think you have a lot of friends. You sure don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in the circles, in the successful financial circles that you were running in, was there a lot of drug abuse?
You know, to be honest, I guess in the circles that I was running in, there was. I kind of, I ran with the type of people that, that I was myself, the same behaviors. I mean, otherwise, if you aren't part of that circle, then I really probably wasn't interested in hanging around you anyway.
Sure.
Fortunately, that's about how it went. And, there's a lot of abuse in the financial world, I would say, when it comes to drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. Is it like, it's kind of glamorous in the beginning?
It can be. I mean, it's, it was for me, and I guess, getting into that scene for me enabled me to feel popular. It was good to be sought out, to be the one that people would look to have fun or to do things. And, it was very self-centered. When I look back on it now, I just know so much now that I didn't know then. But, that we talk about our ego, and it's funny, 6 months ago when I went to Serenity, I was at the rock bottom of my life there, and I didn't even think I had an ego. I didn't know what an ego was. My ego is enormous.
Yeah. Yeah, so you learned a lot of stuff about yourself. Well, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, let's talk about what happened. I mean, you're bebopping along life, you're doing cocaine, you're drinking, you're smoking pot, and what happened? What changed your direction? So, folks, don't go away. More with my guest, Brian Bangle from Orlando, Florida, talking about his experience, strength, and hope, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today when we come back.
Origins Recovery Centers provides integrated inpatient treatment for substance abuse and co-occurring disorders. At Origins, clients receive expert medical, clinical, and spiritual care individually designed for their needs. Our clients leave Origins with the foundation upon which they will build the rest of their lives. Call now to speak with an admissions specialist. Our toll-free number is 888-843-8935. That's 888-843-8935. Origins, delivering real solutions for real families.
Treatment does not have to be voluntary to be effective. Sanctions and enticements from family, employment settings, and or the criminal justice system can significantly increase treatment entry, retention rates, and the ultimate success of drug treatment interventions. Freedom Interventions provides the direction necessary to get the help of an addiction intervention. We assist with selecting a treatment experience appropriate for the unique needs of your addicted loved one and provide 6 months of ongoing support to ensure success for everyone involved in the transition into real life. If you know someone who needs a life-saving intervention, visit freedominterventions.com or call 888-762-7557. That's 888-762-7557. Freedom Interventions, providing drug and alcohol interventions and a continuum of care services to clients and their families.
Take12radio.com is the world's only recovery, talk, and positive music station, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right, and my guest this week is Brian Bangle from Orlando, Florida. I don't know why. Excuse me, I want to say Orlando, California. Why would I say that? I don't get it. And one of my advisory board members and myself had the pleasure of visiting your beautiful state here this last year, and we spent some real good time, real nice time visiting with the fine folks at Serenity Springs Recovery Center in right outside of Edgewater, Florida, which isn't very far from Cape Canaveral, is it?
No, it's actually only about an hour.
About an hour away, right? And Serenity Springs, it wasn't long ago that you never heard of that. True?
I never had heard of Serenity Springs, nor I wasn't familiar with, hardly any treatment centers. I'd just, never really paid attention to it.
Right. So what happened, man? You're bebopping along life, being selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, and not even realizing you have an ego, and you're self-destructing. What happened, man? What changed?
Well, like they say, it is a progressive disease, and for me, what happened was I got to the point where I just started to isolate, and the drugs became, the priority for me. And after the last year here, I've gotten arrested once for drinking and driving, and then I was arrested for driving unsuspended, and then the last opportunity I got to have with the police was they actually had to come to my house. I had a tank in my front yard. SWAT came to my house and came in and arrested me for the last time.
You had what in your front yard? What did you have in your front yard?
A tank.
Like a military tank?
A SWAT tank.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When they got there, were you under the influence?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Were you paranoid?
I was paranoid, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not as paranoid as you would think. I was so self-will based, I thought I was under control, so I thought I could do drugs and then rest for an hour before my kids got up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that morning, my kids weren't woken up by me, and that was just a terrible place to be.
Oh my gosh! So they beat down your door or what?
Yeah, they beat down the door. They came in. They stormed through the house, pulled my kids out of their beds.
Wow.
And took me to jail. And it was the worst night of my life.
Yeah.
You think that's the rock bottom. My real rock bottom was after I bailed out. When I got back to the house, I was just explaining this to a friend at a meeting last night. But when I realized that my real rock bottom was when I got back to the house and there was literally about $200 worth of crack in my mailbox at my house, and here I am, just got bailed out, and I'm with my sister, or with my aunt and my mom's sister. And I'm thinking, okay, just take me away to a treatment center or something, but I'll put this stuff away so when I get out I can come back and I'll have it. And at that point I realized that was just the real low, the lowest of lows. I'd just gotten out of jail. I just had SWAT come to my house. And I was just, completely hopeless. I just had nowhere to go.
Right.
And so I asked her to flush it all down the toilet, and I just surrendered. I said, I am so done. I was completely broken. Talk about gift of desperation.
Yeah.
I was as desperate as one could be. So from that point on, my aunt ended up calling a treatment center over in Tampa, and it was, a center that treats drugs, addiction with drugs, and fortunately, she's aware of things like that and didn't think that was a good decision. And the second phone call she made was to Serenity Springs. And Jim Marshall answered the phone on the first ring, and within 30 minutes he was talking to me and asked me if I wanted it. I said, I will do anything. I will do anything it takes. And it just happened, by the grace of God, a bed was available for me, and I went the next morning straight to Serenity.
Wow. Was that Jim Sr. or Jimmy?
Jim Sr.
Jim Sr. So, and for the folks' sake, Jim Sr. and Jim Jr., which affectionately we call Jimmy, this is a father and son team that has really raised up this center in Florida. And what is it, 10 beds now?
It is. It's 10 beds now.
Yeah. And so this is this kind of story I keep hearing, Brian. It's like right at the place of complete desperation, a bed opens up at Serenity Springs. I keep hearing these stories, and it's just amazing. This makes me very aware, once again, that, well, like Fox Mulder said on X-Files, we are not alone.
Right. I tell you, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it because, I strongly believe that if I would have gone anywhere else, my life would not be as good as it is today. And, I strongly believe God had just everything to do with it and put me in that bed, put me at Serenity Springs. And, when I think of Jim or, Serenity, I mean, they saved my life. I mean, for me, it was death or jail. That's where I was at.
Sure.
I just didn't, there was no options. I didn't even know that I was afflicted with a disease. I thought I was just a drug addict.
Yeah, you were just a jerk, right?
I thought I was just making bad decisions and that I couldn't quit doing drugs because I mentally wasn't strong enough.
Right.
That's what I thought. And then, so when I got to Serenity, on the first day, it's a 12-step program, and they're showing me the first step, the cycle of spiritual malady, and how we have this mental obsession, and that I have a physical addiction or a physical allergy to drugs and alcohol. I mean, it just made so much sense to me, and I was so desperate at that point that I couldn't even sleep at night. I was just doing the work. I couldn't get enough of it. So, I mean, when you do that cycle and it goes from the mental obsession to the physical allergy and the consequences.
Yeah.
And for me, it was obvious. The consequences just did not matter. I mean, here I am, with two beautiful children and, just gotten arrested 3 times in 1 year. And I, 44 years old, completely bankrupt. And I have absolutely nothing left and still thinking that I could, minimize this problem and continue with my life, whatever that was. And it just made sense to me. And, emerge remorseful with a firm resolution, I was just in a mental obsession nonstop.
You bet. And what's interesting, and this may be old hat to some of the listeners, but there are listeners that are tuning in for the first time, family members and advocates. We have a lot of folks that come from that place in this whole recovery deal. The allergy of the body and the obsession of the mind is so amazing to me. A lot of people think, especially family members, think if we just separate the addict or alcoholic from the substance that they're abusing, all will be well. But really, the problem isn't, I love what Chris Schroeder says, the problem isn't the fact of the alcohol. The problem is I'm sober. and so it's really, it's a couple of things. Recovery is about a couple of things. It's about my inability to operate sober, and it's about power. We talk a lot about powerlessness, but recovery is really about power, and that's tapping into a power greater than ourselves that can restore us, not to sobriety, but restore us to sanity. And a lot of well-meaning family members just figure, well, we take the booze away, we take the drugs away, take the needle away, whatever, the pipe, and all will be well. And that's just not that simple, is it, Brian?
It's not. I love the fact that you say that about the power, because it's so true now that, with the 12 steps and you have the power to, you have all of the power to choose. And, as long as you're choosing for God's will, then it sure makes life a lot easier. It's a different way to live. But you really, people just would tell me, quit drinking, or, my parents and people that love me and people that I was stealing and robbing from, just quit, just stop. And I would try. And, but it would not last long. And my mind would play tricks on me. If I could stay away for 2 or 3 days and work out and feel like I was back on my game, the next thing you know, I would be deep into using again. And, once I realized that it's a disease, that was big for me, because once I realized that I had the disease, I was afflicted with a mental disease, and they teach mind, body, and spirit. I think it's a 3-part disease. It's not mind and body.
Right,
it's
right.
Mind, body, and spirit. And, once I started to realize that, and started to let go, restore me to sanity, and just, it's just an amazing program.
Let me ask you this. Before Serenity Springs, did you have any relationship with God at all? Was there any connection?
I always said that I wanted to be spiritual, or I needed more spirituality in my life, but I didn't know what that meant. I really didn't. Like, I always believed, me personally, in a universal being. Mm-hmm. I believed that there was a power greater than me. But, I believed it, but I didn't tune into it. And, I didn't spend any time trying to.
Yeah.
Because I was in control of my life, and anything bad happening to me was my fault. And
sure.
Anything good happening was definitely, because of me.
Mm.
And, and when they taught mind, body, and spirit, once I was able to give up to a higher power, I'm a strong, firm believer in God. And, when I was at Serenity, I was actually baptized, and I actually had a spiritual awakening, and to free my mind and body from this disease, and
that's wonderful, man. That is wonderful, and it's tragic that in today's 12-step support meetings we dance around this issue, and it's really the main issue, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, it only says in the 12 steps, it just mentions alcohol like one time, and
right,
and the rest is for spiritual growth. And without that connection with God, I know I could never make it. I would not be able to sit here and be content with myself. I meditate every morning, and actually I meditate throughout the day as I need to. But I try to stay in tune with God, stay connected, and have a good relationship with God. Because He's in control, and once I was able to just give everything up, I realized that I had no control over the things that were happening around me.
Sure.
Was really when my life started to change, when I stopped taking things personally, and I, just kind of let it go. They say to let go, let God, but it is true.
Yeah, you bet. Before we take our next break, I want to ask you, do you find it, are you concerned for your fellow 12-steppers that are out there in the meetings that are meeting dependent and man-centered? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I guess I am concerned for what they say. What do they say? Those who judge matter, and those who matter don't judge.
Right.
People. The meetings are important. I think certain meetings can, go off in the wrong directions and turn into more or less like a meeting where someone needs some psychological help, for example.
Sure.
If their car broke down or their dog ran away. But I mean, I've been fortunate enough to find meetings here locally. I try to stick to big book meetings and some meetings locally that really do speak and stay on the topic of the solution.
That's great.
I have been to other meetings. It's interesting. Since I was at Serenity, if you have one day, you can help somebody with no days. If you have 2 days, you can help somebody with 1 day, right?
Right.
And so you get some of the long old timers that a good friend of mine took her 4 years to go through the steps. And when I went to Serenity, I went through all 12 steps within 30 days. And I know, obviously, Bill and the Big Book and stuff, they do it in hours, right?
Yeah.
So, I think, if they're seeking solution and they're focused on the spiritual aspects of the program, then you're in a good place. Otherwise, I don't see how you could, it works. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And one of the things that I tell folks is that, if you're involved in a 12-step support meeting that has really gone south, really going sideways and so forth, well, now you know how to pray.
Yeah.
Because that happens. It happens with any organization. I don't care if it's Rotary, Boy Scouts, the Lions Club, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, or the local bridge club down the street. We are people, and people are fallible, and we go sideways sometimes. But one of the things that we learn when we learn that we have this ego and these instincts that have been thwarted, is how to care about other people. Even if they're doing it wrong, we can still have compassion, care for them, pray for them, and treat them with respect. True?
And that's where I was coming from, and I appreciate you putting it that way. But yeah, I mean, as long as we're there for each other and we're trying to help each other out and keep people, on the right track, and we're living by the principles, then then we're going to have a better life. The thing is that we are human. You can get into some of these meetings where, some people, you would think they walk on water, and we're not perfect. We're going to mess up. But the good thing is that we have the tools to get us on track, like right in front of us all the time. And, all you have to do is a step 10. You pause and you think about a situation and do a quick serenity prayer, and, you'd be amazed how something that simple can change your life.
You bet. All right, Brian, well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to visit more with my guest, Brian Bangle, from Orlando, Oregon, and talk about maybe what his plans are, what is he doing now, what his plans are for the future, and how he's giving this thing away. So don't go away. More when we return.
Pardon me, dude, are you in the rooms?
Bro, I've been going to meetings for years.
Yeah, but dude, are you in the rooms?
Bro, I'm in meetings all the time. Of course I'm in the rooms.
Yeah, but are you registered on In the Rooms?
Bro, you're not making any sense.
Dude, pay attention. I'm talking about intherooms.com. It's only the world's largest online recovery social networking site for recovery folks like you and me, dude, or anyone seeking help from any addiction. You get exclusive free access to daily meditations, speaker tapes, and daily online video AA and NA meetings, dude. There are close to 300,000 members who are willing to share their experience, strength, and hope with you, dude.
With me?
Yeah, with you. Here's what you do.
What's that?
Get on your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet, and type in www.intherooms.com. It's for fun and for free, dude. Dude, what are you doing?
Well, I just did what you said. Now, I'm in the rooms.
Dude, bro, we're both in the rooms.
Dude, bro, yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hey, bro, I'm hungry. Are you in the pizza?
Dude. Oh, dude.
In the Rooms, the world's largest recovery social networking site with something for everybody. Visit www.intherooms.com and register for free.
This is Chris Schroeder. You are listening to Take12Radio.com. Recovery talk and positive music.
Hey there. This is the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and I am proud to introduce to you a new, fully licensed, all-male residential treatment facility located on the beautiful east coast of Florida. Serenity Springs Recovery Center is a 10-acre spiritual sanctuary fostered through an intensive 12-step foundation of recovery. Addiction is a disease that deteriorates the body, punishes the mind, and destroys the spirit. It needs to be attacked on all three of these fronts, and Serenity Springs does just that. A unique facility that is committed to providing exceptional individual care in small group settings while utilizing their experienced and dedicated clinical and support staff of licensed therapists and doctors. 30, 60, and 90-day individualized treatment programs are available. Call 386-423-4540 or visit their website at serenityspringsrecovery.com. That's 386-423-4540. Serenity Springs, making a life-changing investment into your recovery. All right, and we are back, and welcome back. This is Take12Radio.com. I have a tickle in my throat. On your internet dial. And we are broadcasting to you from the studios of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting on the outskirts of beautiful downtown Albany, Oregon. Our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. Listen, if you'd like to be on the show and share your experience, strength, and hope, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today, just click on the link at take12radio.com that says, be on the show. And there's a little form you can fill out there and send it to us. And please be patient. We get a lot of requests, and I need to wade through those, but I will get back to you, I promise. If you are an author, if you're a recovery recording artist, or if you're a recording artist that has music that can be interpreted in a positive manner that points to a solution that's recovery focused, we want to hear from you. Particularly if you have your own label, we want to hear from you. And we're doing some work. We're changing some things around, mixing some things around in our music department, and please notify us. You can follow the links on the webpage that says submit your music to learn how to do that. All right, Brian Bangle, who lives in Orlando, Florida, is on the phone with me right now. Brian, when did you graduate from Serenity Springs?
Let me see. I went there in August, so I was there for 90 days, but I highly recommend anybody who goes into the program, because things do change from 60 to 90 days. But September 6th was my date from there.
Okay. Was that an emotional time for you to break free of the structure of Serenity Springs?
That's kind of a funny question. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was, I had some fears about going into the real world. I mean, here I was completely broken, and then after 3 months of Serenity, kind of kicked out to the real world, and I didn't know where I was going to go. It's pretty amazing how things happen. Out of the blue, an old friend from, I was praying and meditating on it, and I didn't know where I was going to go, but yeah, I was pretty nervous. I was, and I prayed and meditated, like I said, on it as much as I could, and an old friend from about 20 years of the family came out of nowhere, and they have a boat, a houseboat that they live on, and brought it up from Titusville up to the New Smyrna Bay there, New Smyrna Beach, and and so I ended up just moving onto the boat for about a week or two, and they kind of helped me to have a place to go. I was going to go to the sober living, which was highly recommended, and I was on my way to do that. I wasn't sure where I was going to go, what I was going to do, or how I was going to live, but I knew that it was going to be better than it was. And one thing that God definitely gives you the courage to step up and try to do the right thing and the best you can every day. And so I knew that with God, that He wouldn't let me down as long as I was, doing the right thing. And so that's what I did. And I ended up, things kind of panned out in certain directions. And so I'm, doing much better now.
Right.
When you coin out at Serenity, they give you they have a coin out upon graduating, whether it's 60 or 90 days. And so when they were doing the coin out, Jimmy Marshall, they pass the coin around and everybody says something, and then they give you your coin. They give you words of encouragement or things to watch out for and stuff. So you've heard of the fire circle, probably. It's similar to things like that. But so Jimmy gave him like 90-day coin, and I actually gave it back to him. And I said, when I do 90 days outside of Serenity, then I would really have earned that, and I'll come back and get it. And so not this Friday, but next Friday, I get to go back and get my 90-day coin out. So that'll be my...
Wow. That is a cool story, man. That is great. So like I said before the break, we want to talk about what you're doing now. So what do you do now to stay accountable, to stay spiritually centered? What do you do?
Well, I do what the book says to do. And I wake up every morning and I meditate and do Upon Awakening, and I meditate and try to listen to what God, wants me to do for the day, and and then I go about my day, and I also do my daily retreat, and then I try to give back as much as I can. I do my meetings, 2 or 3 meetings a week. I try to sponsor the newcomers as I can, and I'm just try to work, and I try to just stay present. To be honest, I don't try to think about tomorrow, and I don't, dwell on the past. And God isn't in the future, and God isn't in the past. He's right here in the present. And so, as long as I'm staying present, I find myself to be in a really good place. And through prayer, praying for others, and praying for the other sick people out there that need help, and giving back, things seem to be coming my way. Now I'm fortunate enough to be the owner of my own business, be turning a good profit its first month. I'm with my kids, and which is a tremendous thing after what has happened. I've got my license back. My legal issues are getting resolved, and it's going to be a really good Thanksgiving. I'm here with my family and my parents. They were done. They were done with me, and I don't blame.
Wow.
Can't blame anybody for the way we treated people, and I understand my part, and so that's what I try to do. Just get through my days and stay present, and see what I can give to each situation that I'm faced with, instead of take from it.
Well, that you put it very well said. We all have people in our lives when we start to get healthy that are kind of skeptical, maybe some folks waiting for the ball to drop. Have you experienced that?
That's interesting. In fact, you'd be surprised. I mean, I have quite a few amends that I'm still currently working on, and I was able to go out today and do a couple of amends. And when I was walking into my one amends, my best friend of mine, I do try to. They say do some hard amends for. To me, all the amends need to be done. They're all just as important as the next, because
right.
I pass and they're for me. And certain people, I guess. I haven't experienced that, to be honest with you, but I know that that's out there, and I know the fear in people that care about me.
Mm-hmm.
That I know time will resolve a lot of those fears, and I just have to impress through actions and the way I'm living my life that will help them, be more at ease. But at the same time, that stuff is on them, and there's nothing I can do about that.
Sure.
That's something that's important to understand, is that how people are reacting, how people are treating you because of your addiction or because of what you did in the past is on them. All I can do is clean up, my portion and my side of the road, and live my life by the new principles that I'm living by, and surely, the people that matter to me, I'm sure that will come around and end up being close to me.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate that. I want to encourage people, if you're going through that, if you're experiencing people not, feel like they're believing in you, or they don't see the hope that you see, and they're not experiencing it, you got to remember that, we've made a lot of people sick too, and the disease it's contagious. I mean, the Big Book calls it a spiritual malady. And, it gets on people, it's a family illness, so be patient with your loved ones and the people that maybe don't seem like they're on the same ship you're on with this thing, because, time will change that. It really does. And for those that it doesn't, well, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. I mean, we're powerless over other people's choices. So just hang in there with them, because they're hurting too, and more times than not, it comes around.
Monty, if I could add to that too, because that is, for me, that's something that's really been about spiritual growth for me.
Yeah.
When I was sick and my ex-wife, or other people that I was with that were also sick and still are sick. And that was a fit. And, when you have two sick people, they seem to get along, those two sicknesses can fit. And then when you go and you have an experience or a spiritual awakening and you do the 12 steps and, we're recovered, well, we create a huge imbalance with that connection. And so for me, that's exactly right. It's taught me more tolerance, love and tolerance and patience and to really just step out of the way and know that I cannot control that person, but I do understand what my part was in that. And, and that's all you can really do. And I found that, just like you said, they do come around. You just have to give it time. You cannot force it upon people.
Right.
That would save our own lives. I mean, we're saving our own life, but if somebody can be proud of you for saving your life, I mean, you're going to save your life or not.
Yeah. Oh, you're not proud of me. Well, I think I'll just die.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you for saving your life.
We do. I have a friend that says, "What do you want? A marching band?"
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like and you want to just run out there and tell people, like, I'm experiencing this great lifestyle. And just tell them. But what I found is that, I'm just now normal. I'm not higher than anybody. Now I can be at their level,
You bet. My friend, he's also on our advisory board. Recovery comedian Mark Lundholm always jokes about, hey man, I got a license, but and you're 45 years old, and everybody else is looking at you like, yeah, your point.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I was sending a text to my sponsor, Jimmy, last night about how I have a license and I'm driving legally. But there's certain things to be grateful for.
Yes, there's
things we weren't grateful for before.
That's right. Well, Brian, we are out of time. I appreciate you coming on the show so much and sharing what Serenity Springs has done for you, how they've contributed to your wellness and what you're doing now with that. Any last words for those who are listening?
I just hope that my story, the short conversation we've had, that, I'm able to, somebody can pick something up from it that gives them some hope, and I'm just real thankful for Serenity and, the programs that are teaching a mind, body, spirit, a three-part disease, and that are not treating drugs with drugs.
Yeah.
And really, treating the disease with a spiritual awakening and a spiritual program. And to me, that's what the program is that I was taught. And, they rarely see somebody fail that does this program.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Well, thank you, Brian, so much. I appreciate it. Don't hang up. I want to chat with you after we go off the air. Folks, my guest, a special thank you to him, Brian Bangle from Orlando, Florida, a Serenity Springs Recovery Center alumni. And, we talked a lot about Serenity Springs this hour, because they do treat the whole person. And, we are an abstinence-based, radio station. We're a faith-based radio station, and we're a solution-focused radio station. And whenever treatment providers are on board with that, we want to talk about that, because here's the deal, my friends. There isn't enough evidence out there. Gosh, I say this all the time. There's not enough evidence out there that this 12-step model of recovery works. You know why? Because we've been silent too long. We've hidden in the basements of our churches and 12-step meeting halls and misunderstood what the anonymity tradition means. It does not mean secrecy. The public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion, not your personal stories. I wish people would get that through their head. If you will open up and share with people your experience, strength, and hope, what it was like, what happened to you, and what it's like today, as a result of applying and implementing the principles found in those 12 steps, people will begin to see that this thing works. And people will know there's a solution. So please, one of the things you can do to help us to carry that message is to let us know that you're out there. Subscribe to the shows. Click on the subscribe link. Read our blog. We're on every social networking site out there. I don't know what else we can do. Tell people about Take12Radio.com and listen to these stories. Share them. Burn CDs of the shows. Share them. We're here for you. And we have resources. If you're in trouble and you don't know what to do and you just tuned in, pick up the phone. Brian, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you very much, Monty. I appreciate it.
All right.
I forgot to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot to mention the MAPS program that is a part of my program.
Oh, yeah. Origins does that too. Tell us about that real quick.
Well, what it is another point of accountability. And so you have kind of another sponsor that checks in with me twice a week, but they also are able to check in with other people that I allow them to let them know that I'm doing okay, and it helps with not only points of accountability, but it helps, with other family members and people you care about, because people worry about us.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that program is another 14 months, I believe, program that, it's been real good. She's been my sponsor with MAPS, has really called it like the perfect opportune time at, sometimes. So,
yeah.
I think that's a really good program. It will help.
I do too. You're just not, you just don't graduate and then you're out there in the real world with nothing. You've got this wonderful MAPS program going on and a sponsor and the whole 9 yards. Accountability is so important. It can save your life. Well,
exactly.
Well, thank you, Brian. Stay on the line, folks. Don't forget our email address, take12radio.com. Take12radio.com on your internet dial. Recovery talk and positive music. Please visit the link, Serenity Springs banner down at the bottom of any of our web pages here at Take 12 Radio. And until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Brian Bangle. We are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty. Meow.
music as well. Welcome to the show. Before I introduce our guest, music as well. Welcome to the show. Before I introduce our